Hi everybody, this is G.P. Walsh, and you know me as G, from Conversations with G. And this is a new little thing I'm going to be doing for Conversations with G. I tried it out on another project and it really seems to work really well. And that is some of the questions I get for the show, I'm actually going to make videos. I think they're juicy enough that require some background teaching. They're not the kind of question you can just answer right off the top of your head or even spontaneously. They may require a little bit of background. And I've got a question like that right now that I'm going to answer. So I wanted to welcome you to this new part of the Conversations with G format, and I will be doing occasionally these videos to go along with it. We'll be posting on the site, and you can check it out. The question the writer asked, who asked to remain anonymous: what are your thoughts on self-actualization without a teacher? I have conflicting thoughts on paying money, sometimes a lot of money, depending on the teacher, for going free, which means self-realization, total spiritual freedom. Thank you. Set this aside because I can't talk without my hands. Okay. Can you achieve enlightenment without a teacher? The answer is no, you cannot. Now, remember that this road to enlightenment can be many lifetimes long. It always starts when you hear the words of truth from something with a spiritual authority. And I don't mean political authority, I don't mean religious authority, I don't mean somebody's got all the letters after their name. Something touches you with authority. Now, the teacher can be a book, it can be an audio, it can be somebody talking on a video, it can be contact with an actual guru, it can be a sunset. The teacher is always there speaking to you. So the real essence of this is, and what every teacher will do, guide you into trusting your own internal sense of what the truth is, because that's the voice you listen to. Look, anybody who comes to you and says stuff, say, I'm an authority, or the scripture is an authority, and you got to believe it, or else this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. All of that requires you to agree with it, to say, yes, you are an authority, because it has no authority of its own. It can't make you believe in it. It can't make you subscribe to it. It's always up to you to say, yes, this is true. So notice, the authority for discerning reality is always yours, and you never, ever lose that. And I don't ever want you to lose that. Now, there'll be a time to say, yes, the scripture is an authority. I sacrifice all my ideas and I now study the scripture. In fact, you are compromising the one thing that makes you in contact with the truth. It should be a constant engagement. You can't throw out people who teach. People who have done this for many, many years, people who have acquired wisdom. You can't throw out the scriptures. You can't throw out a sunset. I'm not asking you to just throw it out. I'm asking you to actually look at everyone and see whether or not it really belongs. Is it really the truth? Is it true for me? Is this really resonating in my heart? Can I consult with that little voice inside? And does it say, yeah, this is it. This is the way you got to go. Now, to address the other part of your question, right? So the answer is the guru is always there. The teacher is always there. Sometimes they take a personal form of somebody teaching, like I am right now, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just take the form of intuition. My wife had the experience of being in a bookstore a while ago, standing in front of a shelf, and a book fell on her head. Now, there was nobody there. There was nobody around. There was no earthquake. The book fell on her head. I think I'll pay attention to that, was her response, although she bought it in Spanish. But you get it, right? The information was making itself available. She read the book. She got a lot out of it. She even had me read it 20 years later. And I got a lot out of it. It was very useful. But now you see what's happening? Life and experience itself is always teaching you. The external guru is always a reflection of the internal guru, which is forever talking to you. And sometimes, if you're too dense and you won't listen, an external guru shows up, points something out, and then disappears. In the Sanskrit, they actually have a different word for it. It's the Sadguru, or the Karuna Guru. It is the ultimate guru, the guru beyond, the guru that isn't in form, but the one that lives in your heart. That's the answer to the first part of the question. The second part of the question is the conflicting thoughts on the paying of money. And I have to, boy, this is a tough one because there's two things that are at work here. Number one is there's a lot of people out there who are really good at marketing, throw out really good ideas, and they're not really teachers and they're not really gurus. They don't really offer anything, and you really have to be careful. They are really good at marketing, though. And so they have a price tag attached to everything. Oftentimes the price tags are really high, and I get it. And oftentimes you get the stuff and you don't get the results, right? There are those that it's real. They are charging for their stuff. They're putting it out there, and the information is genuine. But again, if you don't connect with the inner guru and have some kind of enough experience with somebody to help you understand the process and the road you're going on, you aren't going to get the results. The results are not going to be lasting. Like people go to a retreat, feel great, come back home and crash because they have not learned how to actually integrate and process all that material. I actually value coaching for that very reason because that's what it helps you do. It helps you integrate to the point where you can then, you can ride the bike without falling over. So we do have to be careful, right? Because you don't have to spend a lot of money on this. There's plenty of stuff available. Now, that said, we don't live in the culture that they do in India, where you go to the ashram, right? And the guru is in the ashram, and you bring him food and stuff, and he eats, and it's like that's all there is to it, right? Or the Buddhist monk that goes around to the town and gets his bowl of rice for the day, right? He performs some rituals, he does some services, religious services for the community. They reward him with rice. He goes back to the temple. We don't have a culture like that. If I go out with my bowl, I get some change, and I have to go to McDonald's and buy a hamburger, which isn't even food. We don't have that kind of culture. We have a culture where everything is a commodity that's sold on the marketplace. And that means the packaging of spiritual teachings is as well, right? So we have to try to understand the difference and be able to walk that territory. For me, I give away an enormous amount of free information. I do conversations with G because it's free teaching. This video is free teaching. I'm putting it out there. But I also have to make a living. I am not independently wealthy. I have money coming from various sources, and I'm not in any danger, but I'm not rolling in dough, so I have to generate money as well. So I produce some things that I'll need to have people pay for. If I go someplace and spend a day teaching, I need to be paid for that because that's how I support the work. So it really comes down to discerning what you need and what you don't need. And most of the people I experience are too dependent upon big-name teachers. They're not comfortable with doing it for themselves. And to me, I fault the teachers for that. The job of the teacher is to make you so you don't need me, right? The job is the coach. The most blessed words to the coach are, "You're fired again. I'm done. I don't need you anymore." That's what the coach wants to hear. And we want to keep going till there's nobody left on the planet that needs our help. Then we can go, I don't know, do something else, play basketball or something. I don't know. So you need to take much more responsibility to discern again inside yourself when you need the teacher and when you don't. Some people are just addicted. They can't go to the coffee shop without a book. They're looking forward to their next retreat. They're always thinking about the next thing, right? The next statement coming from the lips of the guru. It's like, you know what? One little truth is all it takes. If you really take it in and start to work with that truth and do the work with yourself, that's all it's going to take. Nisargadatta is one of the famous Hindu sages of the 20th century, and he's one of the few people I actually still read. He had one experience with his guru, one. And he went home for the experience with the guru, and he practiced it every single day. 3.5 years later, had a total awakening, and he became one of the most important sages in Indian history, and certainly one of the most important within the last 150 years. So it really is the sincerity with which you take the information and apply it. There's a tendency in our minds to always be seeking new information. Like, oh, I haven't got the right idea yet. Believe me, you got it. You've got the right idea. You've already heard it. It's already in there. It's rolling around. You need to now take that, trust it. Trust your instincts with it. Trust your enthusiasm for it. And then work with it to let it reveal itself. And then you will know when it's time to get that idea purified or explained or expanded by somebody who's been there before you, which is really what this is all about. So since I don't think any of you are ready yet to chuck it all and head off to bed to sit on the mountain, right, and just all day long, then the alternative is that we are going to use the sources of information we have, but start using them instead of collecting them. That's the mistake we make. Most of the time you don't need another teacher, you don't need another course, you don't need another technique. Most of the time you simply need to trust in your own internal guidance, the part of you that knows what the truth is. I hope that answers your question. G.P. Walsh from Conversations with G, and I'll see you on the next show.